The Ignis mods from Path of Titans have shown huge activity lately, and yes, you heard it here. That is the mods that brings the Bristlewing and a bunch of other dragons. There is so much to talk about from that, and some other fantasy mods as well for you all to sink your teeth into. So for all of you who love the dragons and the fantasy mods, this special mod news episode is for you. So let's get right into it. We are starting the dive of the Ignis mods with the return of the Bristlewing. This will be the first Ignis mod, or the first next one. We already have Noviana and Ophis, but the Bristlewing is the one after that. This was recently teased on the 20th of this month, just a week ago roughly, 6 days if you want to be exact, but the remodel sculpt of the Bristlewing is now in progress, because of course, the dragon deserves a facelift. This is being brought to life by a user called Clay, and is one of the contributors over at the Primordial Tyrants team. And I gotta say, I love it. Clay has done a fantastic job with this. I love the detail, and especially the lips and then the gums as well. If I do manage to find an old close-up of the old Bristlewing so I can compare this side by side, I'll show you all, but if I can't, you'll just have to look at the glorious model and imagine it in your brains. But let me know what you think about the Bristlewing in the comments down below. When do you think it will release, and are you excited for it? The morsaries is some concept art for the Primordial Tyrants team. This was released the same day as the Bristlewing. This is basically like a big, bulky, armored, land-based dragon with a spear-like tail and a ceratopsian-like horn and frill combo. It's like if an ankylosaur had a baby with a ceratopsian. You've got the armored body with the scoots and everything like that of a nodosaur and an ankylosaur, or even an early ankylosaur, and then you've got a full-on spear-like tail, just because why not? And those tails are going to be a very common theme with the next few dragons. The next concept art is a small wyvern as well. This is a wyvern that to me is kind of goofy looking, but this is a small wyvern that is for the team or the Primordial Tyrants mods. This has a small Carnosaur-like head, like that of Carnotaurus. It's literally like a baby Carnotaurus that's just turned into a dragon pretty much. It's got some small little wings, a paddle-like tail like that of tadpoles, and then of course it's got a slightly more whip-like tail. Now, one of the things that's important about this one is they have said that this will have an acidic spit. So it looks like the Primordial Tyrants mods will be bringing in spit abilities to the games through their Ignis mods. We don't actually see many dinosaurs in the game, or any at all. Is there any dinosaurs in the game that have like spit-like abilities? Let me know in the comments actually. I'd love to know what you guys think. Is there any? I can't think of any off the top of my head. However, this doesn't have a name at the moment, and there are a couple dragons that don't have a name. We're going to go into the next one, which also does not have a name. However, this is the Venom Dragon. This, I gotta say, has an incredible design. It's very jagged, it's very rough, it's very sharp, it's very dangerous. It has a barbed tail and a snake-like head mixed with a lizard-like body. You can kind of tell the lizard-like body with the feet, you know, the back hind legs and the main body of this as well. But also, look at the snake. It looks like an adder. It looks so cool. It looks so metal. I had to retake that because I swore when I said that. But I gotta say, this one is my favorite so far. However, I do think this is about to be beaten by the one after that. But obviously, do be aware, this is a venom-based dragon. This wyvern's venom is something to fear. It is deadly venom, or so they say. So yeah, be careful. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, the next two dragons will be up there as my favorite ones. The next one is thalassovenator, which is an Ophis-like dragon if the Ophis walked on its hind legs. And this one has so much more spikes than the Ophis as well. Look at them running along the body. But you also have more on the back of the head as well, and it kind of comes out like a frill. It's also got a spiky tail and armor as well running along the body like that of the Ophis. You can see where the Ophis comparisons are coming from here. That being said, this is one of the original Ignis dragons from 2021. Here is the old concept art for it from back in 2021 as well. It's absolutely great. This is insane. Easily one of their best pieces. And I'm not going to lie, I prefer these land-based non-flying dragons like the Noviana and the Ophis, because I feel like they fit more into Path of Titans. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the flying dragons, and I think they're great, and I cannot wait for them. You know, we've got the Alderon Games, a great dragon. I just prefer the land-based ones for some reason. I guess it's because, you know, they're more, you know, they're less of a pain to deal with. I don't know. probably the best way to say it. But that being said, this will prowl the lands below, obviously not in the air, and likely will be in the waterways as well. With a name like thalassovenator, you're going to assume that it's a semi-aquatic dragon. This is the ashenwing. This is a brand new Ignis dragon. The ashenwing is probably the most metal one yet. This is a wyvern that hunts by covering an area with smoke. It literally does a smoke screen, and then it strikes its opponents with a potent stinger that is on the end of its tail. This is basically a hard dragon counter because the developers said that this is a dragon that hunts dragons, is more effective against dragons. The design of this is also incredible. With the orange running along the neck, it kind of gives an idea that this thing could breathe fire as well. I'm not sure how many of the Ignis mods will breathe fire in terms of that, but maybe that's just what creates the smoke, of course. Then you've got the stinger on the end of the tail. It's got an extremely jagged design, and also it has an additional skin which is made by Elise as well, so obviously have a look at it. It is a gorgeous skin. And then we round out the dragons with the final one. This is an unnamed concept art, but the concept art was titled Brutedragon, so I'm going to go with that. This is the Brutedragon. This is a dragon that is filled with armor. It's likely going to be slow in the sky, let's be honest. This thing looks like a lumbering behemoth, but will also be quite the pain in the ass to deal with. This has spikes along the neck, horns to deter any predators, but this is a dragon that is surprisingly an omnivore. This isn't a carnivore, it's not a herbivore, it's an omnivore. It does both. Jack of all trades, pretty much. I love the design on this one. I wouldn't say it's my favorite one, but I really like it. I don't know, it does feel like a brute though, with the, and also I just want to say, look at the wings. You've got the massive spikes coming off the wings, and you've got the big spikes on the wing itself as well. You've got the spiky claw, and then on the other membrane you've got more spikes. And you've got spikes running along the body, from the horns to the back of the head to the tail, and even some slight ones on the feet as well. This thing is absolutely awesome. But that rounds up all of the PT dragons, all of the Ignis dragons that we were to showcase today. Now I've got some new ones actually to talk about. Different dragons. Well, they're not even dragons, these are fantasy creatures. So let's continue with that theme. So I'm dropping these here. This is the Ex Argilla stuff. These are all fantasy stuff by the Ex Argilla team. And I'm not going to lie, after the Draco Viper and the Griffin, it left me wanting more Ex Argilla stuff. However, I really wanted a land-based dragon, and we get one. This is the Nogwrath, which is a commission which is being brought to life. This is a Barsboldia-sized rocky reptile with a beefy body and a spiky maw. This one is not to be messed with. And in the concept art, you see that it's got a massive underbite with spikes covering the body and a big horn on the end of its head as well. And a lot of spikes running along, like big spikes, even on the tail. This thing is crazy. And it also looks like it's able to rear up on its hind legs as well. That underbite, I'm not going to lie, definitely looks like something that's going to deliver a massive punch in terms of damage. I can picture this thing doing a lot of damage with its bite. Like, that's how I can see it. And also, the fact that it can go on its hind legs is actually quite interesting to me, you know? Next one is the kirin. Of course, a lot of people will know this in the fantasy genre. This is a fish-like deer-like horse, pretty much. I think that's the best way to explain it. It's got fish scales on its body, and then it's, you know, it's kind of morphed with a deer and a horse, and this thing looks great. They've even got the fish scales on the body itself. They've got a fluffy tail, and they've also got that singular antler on top as well. We also get the running animation as well for this. I think a lot of people who like horses and stuff like that will be a big fan of this. The running animation looks great, and I cannot wait to see this in game. Of course, I'll have more updates on this as this comes. This reminds me of the horse mod from back in the day. Remember when modding first came out? Yeah, the horse mod was one of those things that came out, and that disappeared. And now we're getting a kirin, which is going to be awesome. I'm going to round things off here with the Glowplume. We get to see more of the Glowplume, and this is pretty much, well, it's not a dinosaur. It's a fantasy creature that kind of looks like a dinosaur. It's kind of a mix of Allosaurus and Utyrannus and feathery and glowy and more like reptile-like. I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain, but this, we get some size comparisons of it. It seems to have two variations. One of them is similar size to that of Concavenator, and the other one is similar in size to that of Daspletosaurus or the Bristlewing mod that's currently available, which is made by Erebus as well. I'm very curious why there's two size variations, why they're showing two size variations, because it doesn't look like a growth stage. It looks like two separate versions of the same mod, and if that is the case, let me know in the comments. I haven't found anything about that just yet, but I'm very, very curious. So do let me know. I'd love to know what the actual reason is there for it. And if we're getting 2 variations of the mod, that's going to be interesting. Of course, everybody, that is the mod news for today. Now, I do want to say, today was meant to be a gameplay video. I'm not going to lie. I was editing it last night, and then I kind of went to myself, this ain't going to be done by time it's like the video goes up, should go up. So I'm gonna try and get it done for Monday, and then we're gonna have another big video on Friday, which will probably be more of a discussion video as usual. But yes, there's a gameplay video in the works. Don't worry, I haven't messed my schedule up yet. We're in a weird transition phase where I'm trying to figure things out with it and make sure that things are best with it. But of course, that's the mods today. Let me know your thoughts about all of this in the comments down below. Which one was your favorite? And yes, if you want to check out another video, check out my Path of Titans tier list. Anyways, I'll see you all later. Have a great day. Peace.